Well, hey there. Welcome back. This week, I felt like I needed to refill my tank or my cup. And thought, let's have a conversation about, well, it could be self care. People often refer to it as that. But they often refer to self care as more pampering, I guess. What I'm talking about when I'm talking about filling your cup is things that bring you joy or they might bring you peace. And I'll give you an example. We've had some frosty mornings here, and yesterday I went out into the garden. And then you can imagine here, we're in the Pacific Northwest, so we definitely have four seasons. And most of the flowers die off, the plants that have flowers. Everything is kind of dying. It's the cycle of the garden. It's the way it's supposed to be. It has its seasons and its phases. What I appreciated yesterday is finding the beauty in that process, in that season. And what had me really enthralled was the frost, was the ice crystals that were on the plants. And it completely changed the way the plants looked. And here I was, in the latter part of November outside enjoying the garden and enjoying what it was showing me. I came back inside and I was very present with the fact that, hey, you know what? The garden has different phases, and this particular phase looks different, feels different, but it can still be incredibly inspiring, and I can find joy in it. I think about the new life that's going to be coming in a few months, and that gets me excited. I think about the seeds that I'm going to start here in January and February, and that fills my cup. That fills my tank. So let's talk about what is filling your tank. Are you recognizing that your tank is even empty or getting low? I have to tell you, with the vehicle, I put my odometer back to zero every time I fill the tank up. I know how many miles I can go. And I'm not that conscious of exactly what the tank level button is, but I'm really aware of the miles that I travel. So I do know when I'm getting low. Yes, I have run out of gas a couple of times. I'm not good. My husband shakes his head at me. Hey, Rhonda, when it gets down to a quarter, fill it up. So what's your gauge? How do you know when your tank is getting empty? I know for me, I tend to I pull inward. I don't go outside as much. I don't do my art work, craft kind of. I feel like I'm constantly doing something every day, all day, at whatever hours related to my business. I just feel like there's no time to just stop and be present. And I recognize that about myself. One of my challenges this year, right at the beginning of the year, is Rhonda, you have to learn how to chunk. And I need to just do some. I don't have to do it all. Whatever project that I'm on, whatever it is that I'm trying to do, because that's my nature. I want to get in, I want to do it all, I want to finish, and I want to tick it off the list. For the most part in my life, that served me well, but the reality is, for me, I've come to discover that's not a healthy way for me to be. I need to be okay with planning, scheduling, pace. And when I do that, I feel better mentally because I don't feel like I'm on all the time. So how are you going to figure out when you're tank? Types of things can you be looking at? Maybe you need to start with your sleep pattern. What's happening there? Are you getting enough? Are you getting the 8 hours, 7, 8 hours? Is your sleep rest? Do you need to start tracking to find out whether or not you're actually getting a good rest? Maybe it's that. Maybe that in and of itself will help you to be able to do more. Maybe it's food. What are you doing when your cup is getting lower? Are you turning to junk food? Are you turning to fast food? Are you eating a lot of processed food? Just because it's fast and it's easy and it's simple to grab and go. Maybe that's where you need to change and fill your tank and just say, whoa, wait a sec. I need the nutrition. I need the good, solid food choices. I've got to get my fruits and vegetables in. And yes, I've got to get my protein in. Water. Water is something that, I struggle with. It's not that I don't like the taste or anything like that. But hey, I need to set a timer. Okay, Rhonda, it's time for a water break. Just like at my desk, I need to set a timer and say, okay, you need to get up and move. You've been sitting at your desk too long. So do you notice that you're becoming dehydrated? You're becoming a bit. Are you exercising? Does that fall by the wayside when your tank isn't? What are some things that you can do in your life that you really enjoy doing that that time is a time that you cherish and a time that you enjoy, and it fills you up? For me, during the growing season, every Sunday morning, I go out and I create a bouquet. Sometimes I do it throughout the week as well, but typically it's on a Sunday morning when things are quiet before we have our Sunday morning worship meeting in our home. I go out and I design a bouquet. I love it. I post those every week during the growing season. And there's so much joy. And I've caught Trim several times looking out the fridge doors, and he just a smile on his face because he knows that that fills me. When I come home, we've been away for several days. The garden. I love being connected to the garden, to the creation that is there, to the dirt, hands in the dirt. And that really fills me up. And you know what? Painting has become something that fills me and feeds me as well. Maybe it's reading. You're get in there. It could be a book. It could be your Bible. It could be some inspirational literature that just helps you to solidify your thinking, gives you clarity, and listening. I mean, maybe filling your cup is listening to some podcasts. Maybe it's listening to a book on Audible. During this time of year, things get pretty busy. For us here in the US, it's kind of Thanksgiving through Christmas. This is the time when things can get busy in our personal lives. They may be busy in your business life as well. How do you know when your cup needs refilling? How are you going to figure that out? Well, you need to sit with it and you need to become more aware of how you are behaving, how you're interacting with other people, how you're interacting with your family. You notice that your responses have become reactions, and they could be more sharp than they need to be or the situation warrant. It could be that you stop talking. You don't want to communicate with people. It could be that when there's a group, you've gone off on your own. You just need that separation, that isolation. Start noticing how you're behaving and interacting. And it will help you understand, okay, so I'm out of whack here and I need a fill up. And then you need to really get in there and figure out what is it that fills my cup. I figured out several things. One is the garden. Two is creating the bouquets and just creating things in the garden. The other is painting. And also, the other thing is I have my older sister, two younger sisters, and the wives of two of my cousins. We're the six of us. We have a text string going. Being involved in that fills me. Family. We're in it together. So I really encourage you to get to know yourself really well and understand when your tank is getting low and know the types of activities, situations that will fill that tank. Make it a priority to fill your tank. That's it for this week. We'll talk to you again next week.